Hey YouTube, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Roman, and yes, we are back with another For the Culture news report. And in today's episode, we will be celebrating the 93rd birthday of the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., whose birthday was January 15th, born in 1929. And in honor of the federal holiday, I like to talk about why MLK Day is so important to America. So without further ado, let's get into it. So before we begin with why I think MLK Day is so important to America, I want to just say I think it's so important to me because it serves as a constant reminder of some of the struggles, some of the challenges that were faced by my people, and some of the hurdles that was removed for me so that I could live and do the things that I do today. But most importantly, it's taught me that I have to pay it forward. Not only do I get to live and enjoy these things, but I need to continue the work, continue the mission of those who came before me so that those who are coming up behind me can also see and bear some of that fruit. So that's why I think it's important to me, and I always try to keep that in my mind when I'm doing service work, community work, or even just trying to empathize with someone. I try to come from that sort of place. So let's get into it. Dr. Martin Luther King was an American civil rights pioneer working primarily during the 1950s and 60s as an advocate for rights of African Americans. He is famous across much of the world and is one of the most written about persons in history, but in the United States specifically, we set aside a special day to honor him. During the early 20th century, African Americans in some southern states lived under a set of laws called Jim Crow laws. The Jim Crow laws meant that Black Americans were required to live separately from white Americans, and they were treated effectively as second-class citizens. Blacks were not allowed to eat at the same restaurants, live in the same neighborhoods, or even ride in the same section as white Americans on the public buses. The de facto beginning of the American Civil Rights Movement and Dr. King's civil rights work was a bus boycott in the city of Montgomery, Alabama. A woman named Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a bus to a white passenger and was arrested. In turn, the boycott was organized as a non-violent protest of the city's segregation laws. The boycott was successful and led to the desegregation of public buses in the city. This was an important early victory for civil rights and gave Dr. King his start in the national spotlight. He is most remembered for his speeches, including the famous I Have a Dream speech given during the March on Washington, D.C. in 1963. The I Have a Dream speech is a passionate call for an end to discrimination, which outlined his vision for a world where people are judged for the content of their character, not their skin color or other superficial reasons. I've Been to the Mountaintop is notable for being Dr. King's final speech.
Be true to what you said on paper. If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest for right.
He chillingly refers to his own death and the need for the struggle to continue even if he is gone. The speech was delivered on April 3, 1968. The next day, Dr. King was assassinated while standing on the balcony of his hotel room in Memphis, Tennessee. So in 1983, President Ronald Reagan signed a day honoring Dr. King into law. It falls on the third Monday of every January so that it occurs around the time of his birthday, January 15th. It is a day for all people to remember that whatever differences we may have in terms of ethnicity or culture, they can and should be overcome for the benefit of society.
But I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
So with all that being said, this year, why don't we commit ourselves to, at a minimum, of paying it forward to someone less fortunate, someone we don't know, doing one random act of kindness, doing something that's going to help someone, free them from whatever hurdles might be in their way that you don't know. I think that's important not only for yourself, but for the community of which you live or you serve. And until next time, deuces.